Hi Divine Rebels, Bohemia with Bohemian Stars and Ocean Heart readings here, and we are doing a rainy day reading. Hey! Bear with me as I get you on the set. Yeah, it is raining. Baby Magic in the house. So today we have two ways that you can pick your card. We have the Water Crystal Oracle based on the work of Masaru Emoto, which I've spoken of before. This entire deck is based on the way that our words and energy does change the crystalline structure of water when we say words over water, when we bless it, pray, even curse it. So this has the good words on it, but you can go ahead and look up his entire study. Remember to always bless your water, pray for the water, and fight for our water in this world. Water is life, Mini Wachoni, hashtag follow them, and stay up on the causes helping to purify our waters and keep our waters safe. It's real, y'all. So yes, we are sitting in water energies. We're coming off this Pisces moon, going into Aries moon energy. We might already just be there. I had to delete like all my apps off my phone in order to do this video because my phone's being crazy over here trying to have retirement or something. So I didn't look at my exact degree of the moon and my ephemeris yet today, this morning. But hey, that's where we're at. The moon's been conjuncting Neptune and we see the rainy day parade out here, which is beautiful, pouring down. There's been thunder, so you might hear some thunder pop off. We are here for it. Yes, water dominant Pisces over here. Drop down below if you have a lot of water in your chart, or if you don't have any water in your chart, what's going on? So the options we have all these watery beautiful stones. We have a blue calcite, we have aquamarine, we have a blue lace agate in that form, and then we have a sparkly blue lace agate. So you can also do it by the look of the water crystal that you are drawn to. Now when I was drawing this these cards, we used the Orisha tarot, and I will have the decks linked down below. I noticed that all the cards that it kept showing me as I was shuffling were from the cup suit, which is the water suit in tarot. So I was like, okay, is that what we're doing? And they were like, yes. And I got all of the cards that I had seen while shuffling. So we have a card each from the water suit, and we have a water crystal oracle card. Well, one of the decks has two. One of the sets has two water crystal cards that came out, and it was on point, y'all, let me tell you. All right, so we're going to get into it here. We have, again, 1, which is blue calcite, 2, which is aquamarine, 3, which is blue lace agate, and 4, which is sparkly blue lace agate. All right, oops, that was baby magic. And we will get into it here. Timestamp should be down below. Yes, all other information. I kind of want to leave these crystals like around a little bit more. That's my ring. Just trying to take my ring off my other hand. Her Leo rising has been getting fabulous lately, y'all. Here, let me take it off. It's big enough that you can play. Yeah, that is mamas. All right, number 1, getting into your reading here, we have the Ace of Cups. This Ace of Cups is talking about the depths of the ocean with Olokun. This card really talks about when we want to go into spiritual paths and like new ways of being, but then boom, we're hit with like all of our emotional baggage before we get there. It's like, it says that we go like we want the spiritual benefits of these things, right? A lot of you are in the spiritual game, let's be honest, because you want a love partner, you want a soulmate. That's how you got into the spiritual stuff, and that's a big kind of like bonus or like a result that you're expecting of being spiritual, right? You're like, well, you know, being all spiritual, I better get a soulmate out of it. So you might have to sit with that a little bit and see if that could be why certain areas, oh, you want them to see it here, I'll put it on, why certain areas of your spirituality haven't been blossoming as well as you would want them to, is because, you know, there's kind of, what is it? Not ultimatum. Some of you might have an ultimatum, like, shoot, if I don't get a soulmate, I'm not working with you spirits, you deities, this screw astrology, you know. Yes, but you might have some kind of caveats to spirituality that you're working with. this card also talks about how, like, basically our depths have treasures for us. There's medicine, there's treasures, there's amazing things, but you have to get through kind of your stuff first, right? A lot of people, I think, sit in the Ace of Cups and it's like, oh, I'm the Ace of Cups, I'm unconditionally loving, la la la, like this is amazing. And then when we get down deeper into it, it's like, okay, but have you done the work, or are you just focused more on that part where it's like, oh, let me stay pure, I'm not going to try anything, because, you know, if I stay really pure and don't think bad thoughts and are super positive, I can get what I want spiritually, and that means I'm a better person, and that somehow means I'm deep. But that's not always what being deep and loving intensely looks like. Sometimes it is, you know, going through those yuck parts of ourselves. I did also get a big origins of like going through stuff that happened in childhood with this group. There might be some stuff you're like, I'm not going through that, I'm not acknowledging that, I think I'm past it, I can't go there. So I don't encourage you to go, you know, past the level that you think you can. It can be dangerous to kind of go into counseling too deeply when we're not ready for it, things like that. This card actually specifically says, with ourselves and with others right now, as you're working with others and this partner maybe that you have, or you're trying to manifest this partner, it does say to go at the pace that the person can handle. Meaning, if you, it says bring up things as questions, not statements. So if you are married and you're like, well, I want my partner to get on the spiritual stuff, and you know, I don't think that they're working on themselves, this says to go at the pace the person kind of guides you, that they are able to go at. So ask them questions instead. Like if something comes up and you can say, do you think this is because of what happened to you when you were younger? And if they shut it down and they can't go there yet, don't push it on them. Instead, you know, kind of prop up the question there, and when they are ready, they will come back around to that. You know, it'll be at the pace that they're able to receive it. So a lot of you are going to be feeling like that with this very reading, and with pick a card readings, where it's like there's no need to get defensive. Just understand, it's better to kind of just acknowledge the amount of truth that you're able to handle at the time, and as you go along you will be able to handle more and more truths, you know, and you'll see your growth over time. It's not going to be an instant presto, boom, I'm like the most loving, I have the most self-love, I'm able to handle all of this kind of thing. Yes, so there could be a lot of growth that needs to be done spiritually or emotionally right here. And I think, you know, originally your heart's in the right place, but if you don't grow depths to it, and if you don't go into kind of those murkier areas, then it's like it's gonna, instead of going to that depth that you are capable of psychically, spiritually, emotionally, in love, compassionate wise, empathetically, instead you're going to shorten your gifts and stay in the shallows, and that's not what's required of you anymore, right? Because look at this boat here. When people stay in the shadows, they end up kind of going around pillaging what other people dig up from the depths, and that's not what Spirit wants for you. Spirit wants for you to be able to go in deep and have deep, meaningful relationships, and, you know, romances and spiritual gifts, versus being people who, you know, the person that always has to break up everyone else's relationship, they always have to go and steal everyone else's spirituality, things of that nature. You know, that's not all that's meant for you. And some of you might really be wondering that because of things that have happened. Like, man, is that all I'm going to get? Should I just let everything else go and forget about it, and, you know, just take what I can take? And Spirit's like, no, just do the work, keep pacing yourself, and you're going to get there. All right. So yes. Now your crystal says rainforest. Rainforest is beautiful and powerful, so you are definitely having attention brought to care for the rainforest. Pay attention, educate yourself on what is going on in the rainforest right now, how we affect it. Things like palm oil, which are actually used spiritually, like that's a spiritual thing in ceremony in African traditions, is now being used as like a bad thing and overly like extracted that's what I'm looking for, and you know, it's causing harm. So it's like, this is the point. If we don't understand the depths of the spiritual meanings, the depths of how important something is to the entire ecosystem, we can go and just like, well, I want some of that, right? I want some of that, let me get some of that, and then before you know it, it's ruined the whole the whole system of everything, right? So I think this is also a message not to burn yourself out going too deeply on one aspect of your spirituality. Again, I'm getting a lot of people on this are so focused, oh, my twin flame, like getting obsessive about one area of your emotional self, your loving self, your psychic spiritual self, that the rest you're ignoring a lot of depths that need to be explored on other aspects, right? And that's the rainforest. We can't just go in and be like, ooh, there's this one good, you know, super whatever that's gonna make us look good. We can sell this, whatever. Let's take this one aspect of this tree, this one oil or whatever, and then before you know it, the whole rainforest is destroyed because they didn't pay attention of how all the different factors all together, you know, they didn't have compassion, empathy, they didn't have foresight, emotional foresight with what they're doing. They didn't wait for the feedback from the peoples and the creatures in that area if they were even wanted in that area, right? So you can't just kind of use that shield of like, yeah, but I'm a nice person, I have a good heart, I do what I want. So, and there's another group in this that had a similar but different message, but it's like not saying you don't have a good heart, it's not saying you're not compassionate, it's saying that you can hoodwink yourself, you can rosy glasses how you look at yourself. And this is about looking at the deeper mysteries and saying, you know what, yeah, man, my cousin's kind of an asshole, but you know what, they might be right when they tell me that the reason they're reacting that way is because I don't listen to how they feel. And I shut them down because I don't want to hear their loud, mean, angry emotions. And so you know, you might have to sit with yourself. You know what? That's true. I don't give them emotional space. I don't listen when they tell me that I'm doing something emotionally manipulative. I just hide behind my love and light, right? So there can be things like that. Pay attention to the whole rainforest, not just the trees before you. Very, very important. This can also say be more sustainable with your spiritual practices. Make sure that the people indigenous to those practices are able to do them. Palo Santo, sage and stuff out here being mass marketed, and the elders of those traditions don't even have to use them sometimes, or they're being depleted, right? So that's kind of your mission, your heartfelt mission here from the rainy day. But yes, remember, it's because that treasure chest is there. That's the only reason Spirit gives us tough love, is for protection and for more love, deeper love, to help us grow, right? So yeah, I hope that you are able to receive this. Again, you might come back to this reading and be able to receive different truths of it at different times as you grow. I am water dominant, was a Pisces. I've said it many times, or I am a Pisces, but that young innocent Pisces, it took me a while to get some of those heart chakra messages because I was so sensitive, and like where I was like, I needed to learn to love better, but I thought that I was doing it in the best way. But you know, that includes going into deeper, darker parts of ourselves and others in order to truly become the best lover, the best at loving that we can. And so that's part of the message here for you guys. All right, so the spirit world wouldn't be coming to you on that level if they didn't think that you could go there spiritually, emotionally, in love, be someone who is capable of really, really developing that. Okay, so don't lose sight of those deep gifts and nutrients that Spirit is wanting to make sure that you can handle, and that you will be, I mean, we're worthy, but be worthy of holding that with others, right? Okay, yeah, so that is your reading number 1. I'm like, I always plan these, people are like, your readings are so deep, I have to make sure I'm ready before I get on them because they be roasting me. I'm like, no, I just try to do a little rainy day reading, and Spirit was like, oh yeah, let's do that, let's do some little cup cards. And then before I know it, boom 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 boom, here comes the messages from the deep, right? But that's all right, it helps us love and grow. All right, so for number 2, thank you number 1s. For number 2, we have those of you who chose Aquamarine and who chose this crystal here, and we'll get to it to see what that is. We have the 3 of Cups. Yes, and we have Earth. I flipped it over too soon, but that is your card. It's Earth. So you have a lot of practical concerns when it comes to your emotional nature, when it comes to your spiritual fulfillments, a lot of practical things. A lot of you are trying to figure out where you fit within the spiritual community, how to surround yourself with like-minded others. You might also be bumping toes and trying to find your spot between, you know, how much that you know spiritually and how much others know. I'm hearing also some activists. You guys might be activists, or you know, there could also be some artists and things trying to like, you want to get in and have your space and be respected, but at the same time there's the message in this card, and this particular deck that I'm using today has some deeper different kind of messages than just traditional tarot. It talks about remembering that hierarchy is a good thing sometimes, and that we need to be respectful of those who originate the material that we want to join in on. We need to be respectful of the elders and the high priests and priestess that have been doing this, and that know the truth and like the origins of where all this came from. And there's, you know, the need to put respect on people who've been doing it, right? You can't just come in the game disrespecting people who paved the way for you. And so the Three of Cups is about finding harmony within that, being able to know that you are valuable to the community, but at the same time having humility and being able to, without other people having to tell you about it, you know, be able to respect where others are in the journey, and to know when you should be listening and learning. This is a card that definitely suggests to surround yourself with wise ones, surround yourself with people who have been doing it and do have the right to speak their minds, you know, the elders of the community of whatever you are getting into, and to listen and yeah, just be respectful of that, and know that that's what makes you able to branch out. And also because, again, they know certain pitfalls and taboos not to get into. They know you know, why certain things are important to do and need to be carried and handed down. So there's so much information here. Whether I'm hearing some people just want to like join in helping at the Boys and Girls Club, well, there's gonna be always, you know, our self and our aspect that we bring to that situation, but there's also going to be where things have been tried and tested you know, and they've been going a certain way for a long time, that actually works, right? So it's not always about like, oh, tear down the Hierophant, smash all of the, you know, and I'm an anarchist, so, you know, but there's reason, sometimes there's deep medicine with those who come before us. So making sure to put respect on that, and to be in tune with what it is you're trying to join, versus just coming in, shaking everything up. This could also be being new in the office, at the workplace, or at any kind of social scene that you're trying to join into. Again, have respect for the relationships that are there. Know that you are valuable. The Three of Cups is about being valuable and worthy, but if we don't feel that, or we try to overly prove it, now we're causing bickering between the other groups. We're trying to make their best friend our best friend, you know, we're trying to prove that we are more loved than our sibling. It gets a little, you know, crazy and up in the air. So it's like, no, don't feel like because sometimes you are needing to serve or be in the position of humility that you have to push back against that, or that you're not valued. Okay. This also does let you know, though, if you have knowingly been in toxic relationships or not valued at all, that it is time to move into circles where you are. But again, that doesn't mean that you're going to jump to the top of the food chain, yeah, and take over the organization, right? It's like Earth Realm. There are Earth Realm rules to the way things go. Things, you know, have to move within certain circles in our earth, and it's not always bad. It's not always bad. And I think people think that being spiritual a lot of times, or like saying that you're a loving person, just automatically is like, okay, yeah, screw it, you can do whatever you want. Like I see that even with the elders, like when you like activist movements and stuff, and they come to get medicine from the elders, and they're sitting down thinking that they're the equal to the elders, they're gonna go sell this in their shop, they're gonna whatever, and it's just like, who raised you? Like, that's not the way it works. Just because you have some gifts or whatever doesn't mean you go and be disrespectful to those who have been like, this is where the medicine comes from that you are trying to learn. So respect your teachers, you know, respect people. I feel like somebody I'm hearing respect your older sibling. Someone's gonna be upset about that, but it's saying respect your older sibling. They might have, you know, even if they're not correct about a certain thing right now, you don't, look, I'm an older sibling, you don't know what they went through what they've had to sacrifice, whatever. So while you're just rebelling and doing this and that, there could be other reasons, other sides of maybe your parents or the family dynamics that they know that you don't know. So it's not saying you have to do your life exactly like everyone else's always. If you are initiating or taking into a certain spirituality, yes, this is talking about falling in line when you are joining something that you are initiating into, and that's the whole point. You like what they're doing in the world, yes, fall in line, you know. But it's saying it should be a harmonious experience. You know, we should know that the people that's cooking in the kitchen are just as important to the you know, the spiritual community and like the spiritual aspect to our community energy as the people who are cleaning the floors, as the people who are delivering the message. We all are important on different ways, even if the leadership looks different. So yes, it can be a hard thing to navigate. That's why it's like Earth. Earth, y'all. It's hard to navigate these things on Earth, to be a little earthling. But it's not always BS. It's not always, you know, this gossip folks kind of stuff. There's a reason that, you know, even way back traditionally, we formed our packs that way, right? Animals do it. Animals can be very pure-hearted, but there's a reason why they form certain formations in their packs. But they all have respect towards each other, and they understand that for everyone to survive and thrive, everyone needs to do their role. Okay, this also talks about honoring people or even the spirits you work with a dinner of some sort. So it could be time to hold, you know, you could even do it in the name of your ancestors, in the name of a certain deity that's really helped you through lately. You really want to respect them and honor them. You could have a meal to support them. This also talks about funerals. So some of you, it could be something serious like that, like a wedding or a funeral, that it's hard for everyone to not try to grab power, or, you know, well, I don't want to be just stuck washing dishes at this event or whatever. It's like, no, remember, this is the whole community event. There are certain people that should be having the limelight right now. That's okay. Stay focused on the bigger picture. Be of service to your community, to your family, and just enjoy like the togetherness of it all, and that you are part of a community. For those of you who are looking for a community and like, man, I don't have any of this. I wish that I had some, you know, family to argue with sometimes, or some, you know, elders to serve and to learn from. This is saying that you will have that. So, you know, remember to learn when you are included into other people's families and traditions. You know, stay humble, join in, and you will be having a family on the earth here in the physical realm, or a community that you will fit into, that you will be able to become a part of. Okay, baby, thank you for that song. Okay, so that is your reading number 2. All right, for those of you who chose number 3, let's see what we have here. We have the King of Cups, which in this deck is shown by Olympia, a singer, Olympia Alafar. We also have the Right Brain, which is creativity. Yes, a lot of creatives and artists, particularly singers in this group. This one is a lot about balancing what we communicate to the spiritual world and what's coming back, what energy we give out to others, and, you know, kind of balancing that with what messages we're getting back from them, and learning to stay within ourselves and in control, even when like extreme artistic, spiritual, and emotional situations are going on. That you're kind of like the leader or a big force in those situations. And so, you know, it's almost like if the singer lets things go crazy. So what the singer does in this deck, they sing down the Orisha to connect with people in ceremony, right? And so if they give in to the energy themselves and just let go, or if they make it too much about themselves, they can throw off the ceremony. They could even not be a little bit dangerous to the people that are joining in, or the spirits could get upset. So it's like, it's a fine line. So a lot of you are, you know, stepping into a place where you want to be bringing spiritual energy to the people, or you want to be channeling the muses through your art, bringing that to the people. So it's like, whenever you're bringing that medicine to the people, you have to stay very aware within yourself. You have to know what you're putting in, how the audience is receiving it, you know, where that, if it's time to give them more, if it's time to give them less, how to fit in yourself within that as your individual self. So the King of Cups is very good at putting emotional boundaries, very good at making private their artworks, their spiritual path, their ceremonies. Absolutely. This is the person that's like, no, you don't need to come into this ceremony with us. It's not for you, because they are responsible when they go knocking on spirit's door of, you know, who's going to come and connect. So this is about really realizing that. It talks a lot about creativity. So I've mentioned many times, we have to know the rules in order to know when it's okay to break the rules. So some of you are learning in the arts of some sort, and it's like you're going to get to the point where you can start improvising, you can start going out on your own, but it's like nobody likes the lead singer who trashes everyone else, doesn't care what their audience thinks. You know, sometimes people like that lead singer and they get away with a lot of stuff, but it's like, you know, you're worth more than that as a performer. I know, right? Could you believe it? It's so funny because baby was very upset right before this, and then I was getting upset. We took a pause between 2 and 3, and so we took a pause, we lit some sacred medicine, smudged ourselves up, and then we did, nope, I have to talk to them in there. She's on my lap, so she's looking at the mic and trying to touch it. And then we had to do some rounds of Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, actually. And I, being a witchy astrological teacher mom, I actually do her natal chart in a version of Twinkle Little Star. And so she was saying, twinkle, twinkle, whoa, whoa, whoa. I was almost going to record it for you guys, but it was a moment. So we didn't. We had to bring ourselves back in from our emotions and our tempers and sing our spirits back to a healing spot. And so that literally might have just been a bit of channeling for your reading, getting ourselves back in, when to put on that kick-ass music, you know, really drum into that, when to soothe your soul and spirit. Music is so powerful, and coming from water, find out the water songs of your tradition. I had mentioned before in a private message with somebody from the community a few days ago, you know, when you're out there on the front lines fighting for the water or fighting for different causes, music is so powerful. You know, the song of the mothers, the song of the healers, the songs of the youth, they all have very important timing when you're working, you know, of movement, when you're out there marching. There's times where you rally up the crowd, you remind everyone while we're there what we're fighting for, and that is an important rallying cry. There's also time when you got to walk through that crowd like water, where you have to make sure that they're not going to be triggered or instigated by the opposition, that we stay focused on what our goals are. When you sing their spirits back into harmony, back into prayer, back into alignment with themselves and with each other. Song is so powerful. So learn the healing songs, learn the fiery fight songs that come from your spiritual traditions, that come from your people, from your origins, from your ancestors, and that is going to be something that is amazing for you. Really pay attention to what music that you sing. Listen and pay attention to the music that you are listening to, or pay to hear and pay attention to it. You might need to augment that in some ways. You can also really get yourself in a mindset by listening to music of that, right? You might want to go and listen to the Crystal Bowls chakra chants to get yourself, you know, into a certain space. You can sing yourself in and out of moods. So be conscious of that. You might suddenly, or even with children and people around you, you might not realize that you're in a certain mood, listen to songs. Well, then the kids are acting up, this is going on, your spouse comes in and starts bickering. Well, maybe the rest of the house isn't in the temperament to hear that fight song that you're revving yourself up with. So there is responsibility with this. It's the same with your art. It's like, yes, be true to yourself, but make sure that you're not getting distortion with the messages that you're sending through, because you are channeling spiritual things in your art, and it's good to be aware of that. Yes. So there will be psychic, intuitive, activist, you know, energy changing messages that are coming through you at this time. Some of you might even open up to being a channel, to being, you know, a medium, to more easily allowing your psychic messages to just come through you. You might even take a break from the cards for a little bit. No insult to the cards. I love to use them, obviously, although I am psychic and a medium and can channel. But you might go and explore working on that side of your gift, okay? Yes, so creativity, that is what is required of you from the water. And from this reading, some people had a lot more serious tasks. For some of you, this could be hard though, right? Throat chakra. Blue lace agate, speaking up how you feel, communicating artistically, letting yourself put it out there for the people, learning to balance the power of being on stage with giving the medicine to the audience what they really need while still respecting the material that you're presenting. Right, so definitely some good advice in here for creatives. So thank you for being out there creating. Look up the poem by Arthur O'Shaughnessy. I think it's how I pronounce it right. We are the music makers. We are the dreamers of dreams, right? Go through that, and he talks about in that poem, it's called Ode. It's like an ode to all of the artists and kind of the mystical energy of artists, how we document history. That's how we find, what do they find? They go and they find sculptures, they go find paintings, they find, you know, so you have to it's important that you let the world know what's going on right now. It's important that you speak and put forth in your creativity, in your art, these messages. And so some of you just needed that push to level up to that. And yes, go ahead. You don't have to just sit there and only depict things in one way. You can talk about the spiritual truths, about the activism truths that are going on, because how else will they be documented for the world to see in a pure way from the people, from the culture, you know, that kind of thing. All right, you definitely have the muses very strong with you, and you also might have ancestors and other spirits of your people that really want to support you and to connect and express through your art and your creativity. Yes, twinkle, whoa, 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 that's right. Thank you. Good job. Yes, so sing, as Baby Magic says. And that is your reading number 3. Comment down below how this resonated with you. Are you an artist? Have you been a hiding artist? Are you ready to branch forth into new aspects of your creative work? Or are you a channel, a psychic, a medium? Let us know, and we will talk to you soon. Rainy day readings. Hey, all right, for those of you who chose number 4, we have the sparkly blue lace agate, and we already have one flipped over here. We have the 8 of Cups reversed, and then we have 2 cards that came from the water oracle, water crystal oracle. I always want to call that something different, which it makes perfect sense. It's water crystals. Yes, so this option, this is definitely about release. It's even stopped raining now. By the time we get to this one, I had to pause and upload the other parts of this video to make room on my phone. And yeah, it stopped raining, and this is about releases that need to happen but haven't yet. And so with this one, we are talking about, in this specific deck, the Orisha Tarot, which wanted to be used, it talks about when we try to become too like eclectic, we try to become too involved in a lot of different paths or energies, and we start getting our wires crossed about things, right? Our spiritual medicine and messages are not direct as they should be and in the right places. So how does this apply? What am I saying here? So spiritually, for the first, we'll look spiritually, emotionally, and relationships and such. Spiritually, the examples they give is like you could be connected with the Orisha, for instance, in this deck, which is like divine beings, with your ancestors, with different modes of spirit, but that doesn't mean that because you are a tarot reader and can channel some things that you can initiate people with the Orisha. It doesn't mean because you go and leave like, let's say, Christian religious symbols with when you connect with a certain ancestor like a grandmother, because that is what they connected with, that applies, and you can just go and translate that onto other ancestors that are a different culture, or you know, you pull that and put that into certain divine beings, right? You have to know where things are okay to be embraced and when they are not spiritually. And with this 8 of Cups reversed coming up, it says that that's not happening with those of you who are choosing this. There could be people who think that they can do whatever they want, like that whole I'm eclectic, I do what I want, it doesn't matter, I'm the universe, so I can do, you know, that's no. It doesn't work that way in all magics. It doesn't work that way in all spiritualities, especially when you're crossing cultural lines and barriers, right? And so this is letting you know that is the case right now. There are some areas that you're mistaken or that you are neglecting to be respectful of the spiritual paths. It could be as simple as maybe you are putting something on your ancestors' altar that they're not liking at the moment. Maybe it works for, let's say you have you know, one side of your family is, you know, Latinx and the other side is Irish. There might be something that you apply to one side that the other side of the ancestors, they're like, no, we don't, no, take that off our altar. That doesn't work that way. It could be, you know, trying to act like you are initiated or have authority to claim certain spirits as your own, where that's not the case. It could be disrespecting the ancestors or origins that came before, but feeling entitled to utilize their movement, their magics, their paths. Okay, so some examples that were coming to me as I was doing this. One example, yes, is just don't put yourself forward as like, and some of you I think picked more than one option because some of these messages are slightly intertwining, but they're different. So some of you, it's like, don't put yourself forward and say, oh, like, oh yeah, I'm this priestess, this magical worker, and I can give you your, you know, your heads, your orishas, your this, your that, and you're not. You don't know about that path. You can't all of a sudden say that you're a voodoo priestess or something and you don't even know about you haven't been initiated, you don't know the history of Voodoo, you don't, or any of those things, right? And that happens a lot now. People think that they can just be Instagram famous, pick up a whole entire line. There's a difference between doing folk magic or, you know, in general being a witch or opening up to your gifts and saying that you are initiated in a certain thing. A good example is Reiki. Reiki energy is not the only type of healing energy. It's the one everyone wants to hear and say. It's a particular download of particular energy as practiced and handed down from a particular person, right? What they picked up, their universal energy that they tapped into for healing. It's not the same as other different energy downloads, right? So that's a good example. Someone that gets Reiki, they need to go and get kind of tapped into that energy zone by somebody who is qualified to be a Reiki practitioner, master, and hand that down. And even then, you want to be careful who you're getting those medicine and downloads from, that they're coming in a good way, right? So that you're not messing up your energy vibes that you're having very subtly downloaded into your spirit. So there could be some people in this group who are just wanting to collect a lot of things. I worked in a shop and they were very new agey, and they would just go and do road trips to like go to different like indigenous sites or whatever, and then come back talking about that they had all of these credentials to, you know, basically be medicine persons and all this and that, which is total, you know, no. They didn't, right? And they would start holding their own faux representations of these spiritualities and get very upset at questions asked and basically just not know what they were doing. So you could be, definitely this reading could be red flags for you that you might be about to invest in certain gurus. And this one, it specifically says on this card something about like watching out for like fake gurus. So definitely pay attention, go to the source, the people who created or you know, this is their spirituality if you're trying to find authenticity spiritually. But one of the main roots in this is about trying to fill a void within yourself by other people's love stories, other people's spiritualities, other people's emotional stories, right? That can happen sometimes. Sometimes it's good to feel other people's love, to connect and honor other people's spirituality. We'll have other people who bless us from their ancestors, and then their ancestors will look out for us a bit, and we have respect, so we shout them out. But there's a difference when we just have this void and we try to cover it up with entitlement, and then we feel entitled to kind of break into other people's relationships. We feel entitled to, you know, claim whatever, you know, identity is hot to us at a moment that we want to throw on to try to fill this void. And so this is asking to step into more authenticity and to leave different paths that don't serve you in your spirit, to let those fall away and you know, move forward into getting more and more authentic and pure with your energy vibrations. Especially if you are saying, well, I'm so wise, I'm this big priestess, this and that. Well, that more would be required of you then. And you would know that if you're working on that level, that it's very, very subtle vibration spirit will really, really correct us on and let us know, don't mix this with that. You know, don't do this and that at the same time, right? A lot of traditions, you can't be in two ceremonies at the same time. You have to really fine tune things. So it might be time for you to focus on one aspect of your path and leave the rest alone for now, while you're maybe getting initiated, or while you're just kind of learning certain things. Relationship wise, I'm seeing that same thing. Even if you're like polyamorous, or, you know, even if you're like, well, I tend to have a boyfriend and a girlfriend at the same time, or maybe you're just like, well, I don't care about traditional rules. If I think that's my soulmate, then I should be able to, like, yeah, their marriage should end. I should be able to get my soulmate from them because I don't think that they have an authentic relationship or whatever. This is really talking about focusing on the roots of your energy, getting your energy pure, and not focusing on just breaking into other people's energy energetically, relationship wise. It could even be projecting into like celebrity relationships and stuff. It's like, no, your energy is splilched, basically, like it's pulled apart. Remember in Harry Potter when they apparate, right, when they disappear and reappear somewhere else, they have to have all of their focus really, really pure, because if they don't, they can splilch themselves, like actually split their bodies, right? It's like something you have to be very careful about. So emotionally, spiritually, romantically, even artistically, those are all the realms of cups. Those are things that you are being told to really, really pay attention to. Make sure that you're not just taking imprints of other people's experiences, claiming them as your own. Make sure you're not just having entitlement to, you know, well, I can have what I want with love, or this or this or that, and that you're just kind of riding roughshod over others and actually taking their space or their experiences, or, you know, what they worked hard for. You know, that happens a lot. People cherry pick relationships. They don't want to do the work to know someone for 15 years, but they want to come in, kick out the other, you know, spouse and kids, get all the wealth, the affection, all of that this person put into, right? So it's really asking you to fine tune your kind of moral compass, where you've been at, and to really have respect for spiritual kind of energies. Oh, sorry, I was getting some little, I didn't know if that was from a client or something. It's something else. I was getting little notifications, sorry, on my phone here. Okay, a few other examples that came up is like making sure you don't go into misrepresentation. So for instance, you know, Pride festivals are coming up right now, and there's the origin of Pride actually started with a Black transgender woman throwing bricks at the police defending their self. And so I read why this came to me too right before I did this reading, and felt the urge to do this reading. It was like, oh, you need to go do that reading. I saw this post that someone did, and they were saying, oh, this is our origins, was like fighting the police and standing up for our rights, but it was all just gay, gay, gay. They weren't saying anything about transgender. They weren't saying anything about the Black queer community. And it's like, you can't just erase, take what you want, apply someone else's struggle to your empowerment and to your emotional loving freedom. And that's what this is doing here. It's warning about that. It's like, you gotta respect what other people put into their relationships, into their spirituality, into their freedoms. You can't just co-opt something and then, you know, hide them, right? Because that doesn't feel good. Think about people who do that, right? They get a trophy wife, they hide everything their family does to support them, they go and get all machismo, they take all the credit, they squash out space for everyone else. Like, we don't like that, right? We don't, it doesn't feel good. So it's really like, no, you need to make sure that you're really putting respect on the origins, you know, those who have helped you, all those humble parts of being spiritual, all those humble parts of being loving. Because why? Well, if we look at that example, currently we still have a horrible, horrible situation of Black transgender women being killed, right? So Indigenous and Black women and transgender queer community get kidnapped, murdered, and everything, bigger than any demographic. So how can we still have people fighting the police, right, in the Black community for their life? So how can you just like take the celebration of that, want all the good of it, but not do all the work and ignore those people. So it's time to think about those things spiritually, about how can you truly honor the roots of everything that you're doing spiritually. Same thing with love. How can you, maybe it is time for a divorce. Maybe you and the person that you're in love with do need to divorce and leave. And that is part of your Eight of Cups, is leaving these relationships that no longer serve you. But how can you do that without having to go into this like moral cruddy area of like disrespecting their former partner, disrespecting the parent of their children, disrespecting their children, right? People do crazy things where they'll like basically kidnap a partner away from that person's kids and everything, move them to another state, and then be posting and bragging about, oh, look what a good stepfather this person is. And I'm like, you just totally like mind screwed them away from their own actual children, and have like children that won't have a relationship with that person now, made a horrible, you know, all this crazy dynamic with their former partner, the baby's parent, whatever. But now you want all the good, and you want to be like, oh, look at our perfect, you know, I found my soulmate, look at our perfect family. So this is asking, like, try to have some more, you know, hold yourself to a deeper moral compass with that. Try to do things with respect and love to all around, and don't feel like you have to disrespect the origins of something just so you can claim it yourself and take what you want from it. Spirit wants you to be a little bit more pure-hearted about things in that nature, okay? Because that's fear that says that we have to put hate on the situation and take what we want rough-handed. Spirit's like, you don't have to do it rough-handed. What's yours is going to come to you. So if that soulmate does need to leave that situation, you don't have to be stank on it. It'll happen. It'll come to you. Stay in a good way. Pray with good medicine. Love with a pure, good heart. All right? This is also about realizing when certain situations and paths aren't for us. When you get told, no, this isn't for you, this ceremony isn't for you, be humble and back out of it if the people of that ceremony do not want to include you in it, and you know, or their ancestors are telling them no. Same with relationships. If that person that you feel like, this is my soulmate, this is my twin flame, keeps saying no, their spirit doesn't want it, they don't choose it, at a certain point you have to respect that, right? You can't just keep crossing wires trying to keep them emotionally bound and stuck into this bubble of what you wanted. And they're telling me to look at the book again. There's a part that I'm missing. They were giving me a lot of downloads for this, so I was trying to really remember all of them. Yeah, oh, it talks about lack of direction, stagnation, loss, and depression. So those could be some of the motives that kind of, you know, make us, you know, we get a little bit reactionary when we are in those places, and that's when it feels like we just get a little bit desperate. We want to cling to whatever we have. So it says here, yeah, you could be having existential crisis, feeling like a little bit meaningless, or you could feel like there's no clear time frame or ending or direction with things, and that can make you, you know, treat your partners, your soulmates this way. So it's like, don't get abusive, don't get disrespectful to their own intelligence for their own path. Okay, and then it says, this is very important too, it says, do not envy what the dead have, which is very like, whoa. I think somebody in this group needs to hear. You might always be using, I had a partner like this. I had a partner that would threaten all the time, like, oh, they should just end it, they were just gonna hurt themselves. They would use that to be emotionally abusive. And I do feel like there's themes of emotional and spiritual abuse in this group that would be a big thing. Or like, oh, well, you're so lucky I'm even here, you know, that kind of energy. So Spirit's like, okay, take that dynamic out of your speech, out of your mind frame. You know, checking out is not an option that your spirit crew wants you to have right now, and they don't want you to use that in a tough way to someone else, you know. Whew. It's saying end your time of grief. So some of you have been being willy-nilly and doing a lot of reckless things because you've been grieving over a relationship. Oh, I just see a cardinal right here. Someone has passed on for some of you. The cardinal flew up, and you've been acting out, and you've been allowing yourself that time frame. Spirit's been allowing yourself that time frame. This is them saying that's enough now. We want you to move on from that and to start acting healthier for yourself in your relationships and in your emotional spiritual life. It says feed your ancestors. So connect to your ancestors, your path that's going to help you feel wholeness in yourself. And it also says do a spiritual mass for the dead. So maybe you know, we spoke of the gay community, maybe the certain communities that when you feel a sense of loss, again, it's like put respect on it. You know, you can show love and respect for all different cultures and people. There's a difference between that and just taking from the dead, right? Taking their traditions, taking their magics and feeling entitled to them. So I think a lot of you, there might be a lot of young witches who are still learning that and getting a lot of negative messages and examples. Unfortunately, there's a lot of appropriation, gentrification, all that kind of stuff that happens in the spiritual community. I think a lot of you are learning, but if you come to this reading, it's because you are open to learning things in the right way, and of how do I be respectful? How do I give myself good medicine so I'm not splitched all over the place, right? And I think that's good. I think that's really good that you're on the path. And I was tripping out when I flipped over your water card. So I did all of the tarot and sat and listened to the channeled messages and stuff, and read the book on them, because this is a very particular book. Really, you know, just be open to the messages. And then when I came over here to the table to set it up, I pulled from the water crystal cards, and when I saw the ones you got, it was like, no, we want two for this one. They were very stuck together. So I took them apart and look what words you guys got: respect, spirit. And that's how they came. When I flipped them over, that's what it looked like, that. And I was like, wow, okay. So that was the that was the cosign. Spirit's like, no, that's exactly the stuff we want you to say and talk. You were right. You were listening and hearing what we were dropping down. Respect, spirit. And it's from the power thing. All right. So, I mean, I think they just kind of dropped the mic on there. Again, with deep water messages, sometimes it's hard for us to drink it in one gulp. You might have to come back at other times when you're ready to hear the next level, the next layer of the truth, and see how it applies to you. But if you guys came to these readings, it was for a reason, and it needs to be applied at deeper levels. And that's a beautiful thing. You know, I love finding new levels to go deeper. And I mean, sometimes it feels stank. It's calling me out. But I love the fact that, like, I love having the heart that's like, you know what? Yes, I will keep working on myself. So that's who I choose to be. It's not the mistakes that I make or the correction that I need. I choose to be the person who will open my heart again so that it can grow, who will learn and try to do it better next time, and find humility, because that feels like a great, like, I like how that person feels, the person who will keep opening their heart space, the person that will keep learning spiritually, that will change and grow and transform. And I think a lot of you that came to this reading are similar to that, and that's why Spirit feels like they can give you these deep tough messages and be, you know, more a little bit heavy-handed with things, because they're like, you really want to be a good person, you really want to be empowered, but in a good way. And that's why we're going to lay it to you to these degrees. So I really appreciate everyone coming to these readings. I was trying to have a little light rainy day reading. Spirit's like, oh, we're gonna drop some rain. Did you hear the thunder in this rainstorm? But it's for beautiful reasons. I appreciate y'all coming through. Please like, share, subscribe, and comment, and I'll talk to you soon. Baby magic singing. I will talk to you guys soon.